Hello, coders. I have completely lost my buttons. I don't know what is the right buttons. Function and then F8. There we go. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's well. It is Sunday, whatever day it is. I forget. God, COVID life. 8th of November, and 14:30. It's actually 14:43. I'm a little bit late. I do apologise. Today we're going to be planning some phase 3. I think it's phase 3. It's a future phase. We're going to be planning a future phase for howtocodewell.net. If I just dive straight into here, this is the beta website. In fact, let's just do this on production. It makes sense if I do this on production. So if I go to howtocodewell.net, right? So what I would like to do in a future phase is have a search facility. So when you come to the website, the main site, howtocodewell.net, I would like to have a text box up here, a search box, and I want people to type in a search query and then press search, and then it comes back with search results. It sounds simple enough, but believe you me, it's not. I would like the search criteria to be, or the search results to be split up between courses. So these courses here, I want them to be split up between a blog as well. So these blog posts, and as well, I would like to have them to be the podcast to be searchable too. This is the sort of the whole plan, really, the sort of emphasis over why I've been calling this the portal project, because howtocodewell.net is the portal to all the courses, all the blog posts, on all the podcasts that How to Code Well offers. So this really is going to be the main focus point, I suppose, for this. The ability for someone to type in a search query, and then that search query will either give them the ability, offer them a tutorial on the subject, a blog post on the subject, or a podcast on the subject. So, for example, a search query could be how to use use PHP control structures. And that would offer them the course. So this one here, PHP control structures. Excuse me. Likewise, each of these, I'll have to show you on beta, which I think is, yeah, I'm on beta. Cool. So likewise, if I was to click on, excuse me, one of these, and let's log in a second. Bear with me a second. I don't know if that worked. Probably not. No. Have I turned the login off? I might have done. I may have just turned the login off on the front on the beta. Anyway, the point I was trying to make was that there is a series of tutorials for each one of these courses. So, for instance, if someone was to search for container names in our lovely search thing here, so container names, Docker container names, I want to offer not only the Docker for Beginners course here, but I want to offer them the tutorial container names. And it's kind of a way of driving people to the various aspects of the site. So it's more involved than just a text box with a search query. There's going to be a lot of language mapping, a lot of sort of not translations, but a lot of language normalization to work out whether there's a question or there's going to be various things to search against. So at the moment I've just sort of highlighted the titles here, but in fact there's descriptions within each of these tutorials, which is within each of the courses, and then of course there is code. So this is a whole nother part of this, is that wouldn't it be awesome wouldn't it be awesome if I was able to, let's come back to the homepage, have this text box and people could actually put in code or an error message or something like that, and then it, and then those searches could search against the descriptions and the blog posts. I say error messages because with the blog posts, I'm going to be talking about, how to fix certain things. So, yeah, I mean, this is quite a big thing, a big step. Now, off the back of the searching, there's also caching, because obviously what I've just said is going to be incredibly data intensive, right? So this will be making an API request with the query to the backend, to the API, and the API will then be hitting the database against all of these various things and then coming back with some form of response. So I need to find a way of caching the responses, so when someone asks the same question or searches for the same thing, it doesn't go back to the database again and hammer that. So yeah, it's quite a big challenge. It's quite a big challenge, and you can see here I've got Elasticsearch opened up because Elasticsearch is going to be the driver, I think, for the searching. And also, where are we? Redis, which I was just looking at, is going to be the caching area, caching layer. That's the plan. And so what I would like to do today is plan for this in Jira. Create some epics, create some stories, and maybe even go as far as actually writing some queries. So not queries, some API endpoints to start this off. Now, you might be thinking, why on earth am I doing this? Because we haven't even done phase 1 yet, rolled that out, or phase 2, or whatever the phase, I don't know. Phases have all gone a bit awry. The problem I've got at the moment is that there's a lot of front-endy work that I need to do to hook up and sort out the login and register, as you've probably just witnessed. If I do this, I've had to turn this off because there's an issue with it. Now, this is beta, so it's private. It's against our private beta team on Discord, so that's fine. So this isn't actually available in production at all. If we go to here, if we did log in, we just go to this form where you can sign up to the newsletter. So there's a lot of front-endy work that I need to do in order to hook all this stuff up, and there's a lot of decisions that I have to make as to how I go about doing that, implementing the service layer and stuff like that. And I thought I could do this today, or I could work on it today, but I thought it would be quite painful. And I was thinking about it. It was actually starting to stress me out a little bit. And I just thought, no, I don't have enough time. I need to give myself a good, week or so just to work through all of that stuff out off stream, learn some bits and pieces myself to do with the user interactions and all that jazz and AJAX requests and stuff like that. So instead of struggling on stream today doing the JavaScript, I thought it would be a good idea to take some time to look at what I want to do in the future in phase 3 or 4, whatever it is. So, okay. So as I mentioned, we go back to the home page, and here we're going to have a search box, and that search box will have a search button. So it'll be a text box and a button, and also perhaps having a select box where you can choose that you want to search for specific areas. So I want to choose the blog, I want to choose the podcast, I want to choose the courses, that kind of stuff. So yeah, from a visual point of view, it's going to be fairly straightforward. A text box, a select box, and then a search button. And we also will need to have a search page itself for the results. And with those results, what I'm thinking is we would have, on the left-hand side here, we would have like not a table, but a list that says something like courses, and then in brackets the count, blog in brackets the count, and then podcast episodes in bracket the count, those kind of things. And then you can flick between the two or the three or whatever they are. When you type in a search and you press search, when that fires off to make the search, what I'm thinking is that if for some reason there's no courses available, but there is a blog stuff available, it would jump to the blog section, and so forth. I think what I might do is probably best at the moment if I draw it. Let's see if have I got pencil on here? I think I have. Yeah, so we're going to draw it, I think. Just to sort of clarify, I'm going to create a new document. Let's just bring that down here a minute. Give me a second. There we go. That's all good. Right. Okay, so let's just dump this in, just to give us a little bit of an idea of the page. So it's going to be like that, and we're going to fill it with white. All right. Then we've got like a section at the top here, which is going to be, we'll do the home page first. So this here is the header, and then down here we have, say, course 1. Let's copy that. So very rough. Course 2, course 3. How many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4. Course 4. Let's just remove the numbers because that's not going to make any sense. So even though I've just discussed what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw it out just so I've got something to go back on. Whoops. So I want to copy all of. Oh. Can I do that? Are you going to allow me to copy more than one? There we go. There we go. Okay, so there's that, and then there's, whoops. Great. Okay, so that's how the home page kind of looks at the moment, and then we have a rectangle up here. In fact, we could probably use select items wherever they've gone. Common shapes. Nope. I thought there was an option in here for maybe not. For like forms and stuff. Okay, what have we got? We've got window frame, tables, trees, list box. There we go, that's what I want. I want that. And I want that. So this is going to say search. This is going to have like all, right? And then you'll have an option for courses, and then maybe you'll have a button which just says search or something. And this, so that will be over here. In fact, maybe we don't need this. I don't know. I'm not sure whether we need that or not. Now I can see it. I don't know, because the results, oops. Just copied that. Something like that. Obviously not. This is just me throwing ideas on the page. So this is going to be how do I haven't used this in such a long time. Search homepage. What we could do is copy. Can I duplicate this? Am I able to do that? This doesn't really give you any options, this. New document. Okay. Okay, where did the other document go? Right. Add page. Here we go. Search results. Right. So let's say someone has searched for PHP, OOP, whatever. What we would have, let me get rid of that, and that. We would have result. Let's just copy that, paste this into here. We would have a grid of results. I think a grid of results, and we would probably have like I'm guessing like a box or something here on the left hand side, and we would have possibly that's what I need to do. Maybe it's a pain, I don't know. Nope, certainly not that. Where was the... That's a flow thing. Let me just copy that. Bring that down. Let's change this to be, say, like a grey, whatever. And get rid of you. And I'll copy this and paste this in, and then bring this down to there. This is going to be courses. I can't spell courses, and it's going to have a sort of a, in brackets, say, I don't know, 15 courses or something daft. And then we would have another one that will have, I don't know, blog posts or something. That would have probably more, so we're going to have 35. And then down here we'll have podcast. In fact, we'll probably have podcast. We'll have podcast before. So yeah, something like that. So courses, podcast episodes, and blog posts. Is that it? I think that's it. That is where we're at. Let's just bring that up. In fact, I could probably just get rid of that, to be honest. There we go. Let's go copy these for a second. Or let's just move these down to say down here. And then I think what I'm going to do is do something like that, and then have, can I move this to the back? Can I do that? Arrangement, move, send backwards. Do it again. Center back. Okay. Too far back. Arrangement, send backwards, send to forward. Alright, I'm gonna have to, what's the, is page down? He looks at his Mac keyboard going, where's page down? Page down. Nope. I don't know what page down is on this keyboard, and doesn't seem to be going backwards, does it? Tell you what. Could we just do center back and then bring forward? There we go. All right. It's not going to have any text in here. And what I would like to do is maybe change the color of this. Well, if that's all gray, then what we could do is just change the color of that. Is there a lighter gray? It's not really an option, is it? What about pink and then this one? Pink too. Something a little bit like that. I mean, visually it looks awful, but I'm just throwing ideas down. Now, what's this all about? Do we need this? Surely if you just write this, it's going to search for all of them and then give you that option. So, yeah, maybe we can get rid of that. So it's just a search box. Someone searched for a PHP OOP and this is what they've got. Okay, so are we going to do it in lists? Are we doing it in grids? What's the deal there? I don't know. At the moment, everything is in grids, right? So that's a grid, and this is a grid. And there's no danger of mixing, right? There's no danger of mixing that with the blog because, they're going to be separate on separate strands of things. So, okay. Let me think about this a little bit. I'll sup my tea and think, is this a good idea? You know what would be cool is if, for instance, I'll show you a really good search that I'm really a fan of. If we go to Tailwind and we search in here, you see that's gone straight to a pop out, and it knows my recent searches. That's clever. It says search by whatever that is. I've never heard of that, so I don't know what that is, but that's pretty cool. So maybe I should factor in having a historical search. That'd be cool. But anyway, the thing I wanted to show you was, let's say, for instance, we did height here, right? It would give you different options and then take you straight there. So what I'm saying is that there's no breakup of this. If you did height, then it knows that this is underneath height, but max height and min height are something else. But it knows that you've searched for height, and then here you got topography. So yeah, it is all split up, but it's split up in the shell here. If we were to have as many options as Tailwind. We would have sizing, typography, examples, base styles, getting started, documentation, customization, sort of here, right? I also wanted to do this with SEO in mind. So one thing here is that with this this thing here, that you're not changing the URL, which I want to do. So when I run a search, I want this to be the URL to actually be changed, so then it gets indexed. That would be awesome. Which means that I've got to be very careful with how I structure the search results. So let's say, for instance, that's why I got rid of this, I think. So there's also something I've got to take into mind, and that is pagination and filters. So how would you filter, say, blog posts? I guess you would filter them on sort of date created, sort of date published. You could do that with blog posts as well. So you could also filter with blog posts with season. So I want all podcasts. I want to see all podcasts within a particular season. Yeah, and then you would order them by episodes. With courses, it would be done by dates. So the filters up here would have to, which we haven't actually implemented yet, would have to change depending on the context that you're in, which is going to be a bit tricky. So I'm already thinking in my head, that this could be multiple phases within this phase. So you would have the first sort of search phase, and then after that, once the searching is established, you can then maybe some features to filter those down. Yeah, because you're not going to be searching, you're not going to be filtering on season on a course, but you'll be doing that on a podcast. Let me just change that to be podcast. So this is, and the names here are they're up for grabs. They're up for grabs. I guess what I should do then is probably have a specific page for a specific sort of thing for each one of these. So what's happened here is that they've searched for PHP OOP, and the first thing that gets highlighted would be the thing up here, which would be courses. So let's change that to be sort of pink, and then change that to be I think it was that color, and let's change this to say course rather than result. Whoops. There we go. Okay, so they search for PHP OOP, and the first thing they get is the courses, and I guess the page would have to detect, like, let's say for instance this was, if this was 0, like that, it would jump down to this section here, because it would know that there's 35 blog posts that have PHP OOP somewhere in their content. So in that case, this would be pink. Okay. So let's just focus on courses for the minute. With a course, how would one filter on a course? I suppose it would be by date created. So let's move this back, and let's put in, I can't find it, wherever the basic web elements have gone. It's a bit of a mishmash of stuff here, but this would be a combo box, and this here would have, or a select box, and so we would filter on sort of date created ASC, and I guess that we would have other things in here. Am I able to put in like comments? Is there like a, because that would be so useful. Just is it just text? Plain text. So so filter options. Great, I can't do a shift enter. Okay, would be one date created ASC. I wish I could. I can't seem to. No, that's annoying. I'm gonna have to. I reckon I should spend some time looking for alternatives to pencil, just because I think. Didn't someone mention Sketch.io was a good thing? Let's have a look at that. If I start playing around with the tools, I'll never get anywhere. All right. I can do all this in documentation, can't I? Alongside. Let's just do that. Give me a second whilst I load up my Notes app. Okay, cool. Let's get rid of that for a second. All right, so I'm in my Notes app here, and what I would like to do is just type results page. Okay, so we'll have options, and the options we've defined are courses, blog posts, and podcasts. Have I podcasts? Episodes. All right. Shows. The results, the search. Okay, the available options here are those, and then the filters. So if we did course, I don't know why this is so small. Right, so. And I've lost my. Ugh. Course filters. We are going to have date created. Again, it's gone super small. Created ASC. Next one is date created. Descending, and then we would have sort of like name A to Z, name Z to A, right? So this is like changing the, and really I think the courses should not only just show the courses but also the tutorials as well. But so if someone was to search for, like if I was to use that example of, say, if we went back to the courses here, let's say for instance someone searched for container names, right? They just put in container names. I need to be aware that container names is a title, a tutorial title in Docker for Beginners. So I would be offering the course Docker for Beginners because it has the tutorial container names. So in fact, the course searching against courses is twofold, because you're not only just searching for Docker for beginners, but you're also searching for against the tutorials within that course. So there's two sort of entities that you're searching against. Whereas with the blog or the podcast, you are literally just searching against the one thing, aren't you? So there's no relationship between that. Okay. Going off on a bit of a tangent here. Okay, so the course filters are date created and name. I don't think there needs to be anything else. And I'm going to change this to be date published. Actually, no, date created, that's fine. Okay. So let's think now. Let's think about if someone was to search against, if they click on the blog post section, they're going to get some different filters, aren't they? Oh, I am also missing pagination. So yeah, let's put that in. Otherwise I'll forget. I'll sacrifice these three. And just bring that up a wee bit. And we'll throw this down into here. And we'll have something like, well, I guess that, I guess it's different, isn't it? I guess it's like more of a button than anything. Any kind of button representation here that I can use. Yeah, let's just throw them on. So you would have 1, 2, 3, and let's say these were in the middle somewhere, and maybe you would have, I don't know, I'm making this up as I go. I've actually done hardly any planning for this. I was just thinking about it today, really, today and last night, because I didn't want to do any JavaScript today. It's like, no, I'm just not in the mood. Okay, so something a little bit like that with pagination, which means that we're gonna have to, with the URL, we're gonna have to put that across. Now, what about offering them? I mean, what I could do is fix the amount of results that come back per page, and then deal with the pagination. I could also offer them, you know, the amount of results to come back per page. So, like, you know, find the first 10, find the first 20. Yeah. The thing is, I don't want to increase the amount of options up here because it's going to get overly complicated. So maybe I should just leave it as is. So let's say that we're always going to return, say, 9 results. That's probably not enough, is it? We could also have like it constantly loads, so you don't actually have pagination. Possibly, but then again, that's not very good with the SEO. So yeah, I just don't want to put another. I just don't want to put another filter in here, like page, showing results 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, I'm making a call. I'm not going to put that in. I will keep these to be... Let's do 12 results. Let's see if I can squeeze in another 3. Let's just... put them down there for a minute. Bring that down. Oh, look. How many of these have I copied and not moved? There we go. Just want to make a little bit more room. Obviously, I'm not going to be using this to get it pixel right. This is just sort of like off the fag packet kind of decision here. Sort of like just scoping it out, playing with it. But I would like 12 results. There we go. So 3, 6, 9, 12 with pagination at the bottom and a filter where we can organize or sort the results back. I think that's okay. Although there's 4 here, but whatever. That's by the way. It'll be 3, 4, 8, 12. Whatever. Cool. So now let's think about blog posts. So I'm going to change this to be yeah, let's just keep that pink. All right, blog posts. Right, so imagine this was pink, and you clicked on blog posts. So what I would like is obviously the interface to change to show the results and the pagination and everything, but it's this bit at the top which is important. That needs to change because we are allowing more filter options. So if we did blog filters, we would have, it would be, instead of created, it would be published. So date published, which is why I was thinking about published dates up here, but I think created is okay. Date published. I don't think name A to Z, I don't know. I don't think we need that. I think that's fine. So sort by publication date. I don't know about this because let's say, for instance, someone searches for the word PHP, right? Across all the blogs. Then, no, I don't know. I think that's fine. Okay, the next one then would be the podcast. So this is where the filters get interesting because we would have published dates, but we would also have seasons. So season, and one could argue that we may even need to have another text box where you can enter the season that you want to search for, but I don't know. I might be able to do something intelligent with the actual text box. So if someone was to say, what was to do PHP season 2, right? I would then go, oh, there's season in this or series in this. And so I would do something clever with the actual podcast results. So we would have season ASC, ASC, DSC, Also, we would have episode. Episode ASC and DSC. I don't know why I've capitalized everything, but now this is interesting because now I can see this in my notes. Thinking about this a little bit more now, sort of it's knitted together, right? So if we go to the homepage, you can see all the courses here. This is the course page. These are all the courses. If you go to the blog page, these are all the blog posts. If you go to the podcast website, which is this one, you can see all the podcast episodes. Let's go to where are we? Episodes, season through 2. So you can see all the guests and everyone who's been on the podcast. These don't actually have like a card. Well, I guess this is the card, but these don't have like a grid card like this one does, like these do. And I'm wondering, when we get to doing the podcast, we should have these little labels that say like season 1 and then the episode number, that kind of thing. That would be interesting. I've just thought of another filter for courses, and that's duration. Okay, maybe someone would like to search by duration, which I can't spell. Yeah, because I've got to think, like, with the podcast, when we search for a podcast episode, they're all going to be jumbled. They're not going to be in this chronological order. So, in fact, chronological. They're not going to always be in date order. So we would need to have some form of like indication that say Adam Argyle came on the podcast on. Just seeing this, I don't know what season he's in, right? I think it's in season 2. I think I searched for season 2. But you see what I mean? When it's in grid form, so when there's like another 4 or 3 by the side of this, I'm going to need to indicate that this is actually on season 2. And that's another thing, actually, with the whole Elasticsearch, searching by people's names. So, searching for Adam Argyle and then season 2. So, for instance, we would have, that would be in the search thingy. Let's say someone was to search for Adam, season 2. I don't know. It's interesting scoping this out because you get an idea as to how, it's just a text box and a select box and a button. But behind, there is so much complexity, bringing all of these 3 different results back in some form of decent order. But I really think that this is going to be the driver. Well, I would hope that this will drive the user experience. People would go, okay, I want to search for JavaScript. And there's another thing about this that I want to, a sort of a selfish reason for doing this, and that is to discover what the audience is actually searching for against How to Code Well, and then I can target my content more to the people who are actually using the website. So how many times do people type in a search and then get no results back? What's the frequency of that? What are the topics that they're searching for? Ah, chest. Chest is not good today. Yeah, okay. Okay, so as you can probably tell, I'm not one for great sort of detail in these kind of throw it together mock-ups. But this is enough for me to go away and actually work out the technicalities of this, I think. I'm sure we'll find more. One thing I would like to do is consider the URLs. So let's say, for instance, here, I said that beforehand, when someone makes a search result, so let's say that was here and then they pressed search, I want the URL to change because I want that to be indexed. So let's work through that. So let's do and come up with combinations. So let's say, for instance, they hit search. Again, this is tiny, like this. Let's say that they put in a query of, I don't know, PHP OOP. Yeah. Now, based on these, okay, so let's think about this. The user journey. So they go back to the home page. So we're on the home page, and we don't have this anymore. So that's gone. Hang on. How can I come off this? There we go. So that's gone. I don't know why it says untitled. Anyway, can I change the name of that? Because that's how you duplicate. Okay. Properties. Can I change the name of that? Yeah. So homepage search. All right. So they've made this. These are all the courses that are currently there, and they've searched for, let's say, PHP OOP. They hit search. That changes the URL to be this. Okay. So this. So let's say. So user types PHP OOP and clicks search. This becomes the URL. So they get to this section. Now we're in this section. There are courses available, and so it goes to this bit here. Let's just change these numbers to make them a little bit more realistic. So let's say, for instance, there's only 2 courses on PHP OOP, and let's say that there is, let's say there's 15 blog posts that have PHP OOP in them, and then let's say the podcast I have 3. Okay, that kind of seems a bit better. And then what happens is that they decide that they actually want to change the sort. So they change the sort to be, I don't know, name A to Z, for instance. So that would be user changes sort to name A to Z, right? So we now have this, and we know that we're on the courses page, so we can do something like and type is equal to courses and filter is equal to, what did I say, name A to Z, name A to Z, something like that. I tell you what I could do actually is just change this to be published, right? So they're all published, and then this would be default to and filter equals published, and then what are we? ASC. Okay. So at this point, it doesn't know that you're on the courses page because they've literally just gone onto the home page and they've typed in PHP OOP and they've hit search. And it takes you to the search results. So this is /search, and it's aware that there is 2 courses. So it then jumps to the courses section, which means that it offers the filters for the courses. Okay. And then they filter by name, which means that we now have the type of courses. Courses. I'm not sure if we need that, but no, we do need that. Okay, let's say, for instance, they type in something completely different. So let's say user types Laravel or CSS, right? And then they hit search. So they get CSS and published ASC. And then at this step, so actually let's do one here. Ugh, ridiculous. Right. So they've typed in CSS and they don't see any courses in here, so this is 0. They don't see any blog posts in here, so this is 0. But they see that there's 1 podcast that is available. And let's change this to be pink just to work this through in my head. Okay, and then these would be that would be the podcast. Let's get rid of all of this stuff. Yep. Actually, let's duplicate that for a second. Let's do blog. Can we go to properties here and just change this to be podcast search. There we go. Right, let's get rid of all this. And there won't be any of this, it'll just be that. So user types in CSS and the filter. They then are shown. Let's just say, for argument's sake, there's two here. So there's that one, and we'll just put that one in here. And they change this to be just realized podcast filters. They change this to be a season, so they do season 1. And also this would change as well, so we would have and type podcast. I think that's okay. I think that's making sense in my head, at least. So this would be... No, it won't. It'll be course. Let's change that back to that color. And let's say we've got 12 results in here. Okay. Yeah. Let's do 36, just to make sense with the pagination. 12, 24. 36. So we've got the homepage here, so they type in the search thing. At this point there's no knowledge as to the type of search that they want to make, whether it's blog or podcast or what have you. And then what happens is they are just showing the results, but the results are broken up by courses, blog posts and podcasts, and the default is courses that goes on, but it's only shown if there is a result. If there is results, if not, it will go to, say, the blog posts if there is. And then this thing up here changes. The filter changes based on where they are. So they would click on this. That would have to send a request back to the server to get the filter, the new filter for these bits. This is why I want to have caching involved. This is why I want caching involved, because there's going to be a lot of requests to and fro. And then this one is the podcast. So let's change that to be CSS. And let's change this to be, instead of date created, let's change this to be now. I am actually starting to think that maybe we do need to have something a little bit more than just one select box here, because this could either be season ASC, right? ASC, or they could choose the season. Here I've said season 1, but in fact this needs to be season ASC, as I've got here. So let's say, for instance, this podcast goes on for 15 years. It's going to be very difficult to target the 6th season if I've in those 15 years I've talked about PHP in, let's say, I don't know, 60 of them, 60 episodes, and I've mentioned PHP, because what I would like to do eventually is to put the podcast through a transcriber, and then put the whole transcript into Elasticsearch. So the search results would be based on the conversation, not just the title of the podcast, which means that this could be throwing out all sorts of different results. I don't think that one select box here is going to cover it. It's going to cut it. Maybe we need to have search by season and then have a text box, what kind of season you want. Which means that we're going to have some fancy JavaScript to alter this. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to get a cup of tea. On my return, I'll sort this out, have a think. because I think this is the only one that warrants this, right? Because there's no need for anything extra for courses. And I don't think there's anything extra for blog either. I mean, you could go further on this and say select the date, like the year. I want to see all blog posts that have PHP in them that were done in 2020. Okay, I'm gonna grab a cup of tea, and I'll be back to think about this some more. I won't be long. Wrong button. Okay. What decision have I made? Well, as I was making my tea, I thought of another way that you might want to search against the podcast, and that is searching by guest. Which then led me down the thought of maybe having, instead of just one big search, have a search specific for the content types, which is something I don't really want to do, but it would certainly make this easier. The thing is, and there's other things as well, like eventually the courses, there's going to be premium courses on here, and so one would be searching for price. Yeah, so instead of filtering by on here, instead of just filtering by the name, it'll be filtering by price and whether they're free or not, a free course or a premium course. So you would have here, you would have free, and then you would have premium. Now also you might want to say, okay, I want to search just for free courses and do them by publish date. Or I want to search for premium courses where they have a big duration. which completely blows this apart, because now I'm saying that in the course filters that there could be two potential filters here. Premium and free. This would be, I guess you would call this course type, right? Where you would have free and premium. Now, down the rabbit hole I go, we're now saying that there is a primary filter and a secondary filter. So here we would have course filters primary, and we would have course type. We would have all, then free and premium, and then, so that would get rid of this lot, and then this would be secondary. This is why I like planning these things rather than just diving into the code, or that's the thing I'm learning to do now. More so when I started this project, at least. So the primary search would be whether it's free or premium, and then the secondary would be whether it's published. The actual ordering. So, with that in mind, then, is there a primary and secondary filter for, say, the blogs, or say the podcast? Blogs I'm not too sure about. I think date publication is fine. Podcast, though, is different because we've got seasons and episodes. So we could have I don't know why this goes so small. So your primary on here would be I don't know what this would be, to be fair. I'm not sure. If we let's just go back to the course a minute. If we went to the course thing here, we would have your primary and a secondary. This is going to be select boxes. So you would have one select box sort of here where we would have course. We would have type. And then you would have another select box by the side of it. and that would have your published dates. Can't get hold of it. There we go. Okay. And then, okay, so that's that one. Let's bring it out a wee bit. I don't know about the podcast, but I do think that this needs to adjust based on the option that is selected. But likewise, with the courses where you've got course type and then you've got the ability to change the secondary, you might want to say, I want to find all of season 1, but order it by the latest. So you would have, in that regard, you would have primary and secondary. But the trouble with that is you would have to have a text. You would have to have a select box to say something like season. So you search on season, right? That would offer you a text box, or even another select box that offers you the seasons, right? So that would be like 1, 2, whatever. And then, I said I didn't really want to make this complicated. Well, and then you would have another filter, which is date published. So in this scenario, the user types in, they go to the homepage, they type in CSS and they hit search. And then they are defaulted to the courses page. Let's say the course has something like, 30, let's just say 36 CSS courses. It probably won't, but let's just say that. But then someone goes, oh, actually, I don't want to see courses, I want to see podcasts. They click on podcast. It knows that you're on podcast, and then it offers you this primary filter, which is season, or it could be episode. That then changes this. So it's a dynamic selection. So it knows that there's, say, I don't know, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 seasons. At the moment it's 1 to 3, right? If they chose episode, that would be a text box, because I'm not going to have a select box for all the episodes. That'd be silly. And then they would have another thing here, which is your secondary filter, which means that these two combined is the primary, and then that's the secondary. Okay, so in that case then, we have primary is season, and episode. We could even have guests. And then the secondary will be will be all of this lot. So it'll be that. Date published, ASC and DSC. Descending and ascending. So let's just bump this up so we can see it. Now this would this would have season. So in this thing they would go season, episode, or guest. If they chose season, it would come up with a select box of seasons. If it was an episode, that would change to be a text box, so they could put in the episode number. If it was a guest, that could be another select box with the guests' names in. You see what I'm thinking here? Of course, they don't have to enter any of this. They could just type that out and hit search, and it will be defaulted to. So that would be season and then all, and then date published would be ascending. So this would display season select box. This would display a episode text box, and then the guest would display a guest select box. Okay, so I think the blog is going to be the simplest one to do. So we're saying that this here becomes dynamic based on whatever that's the choice of that is. Okay. How does that look in terms of the URLs? So let's do so this is podcast URLs. Podcast URLs. Okay, so they've searched for CSS. This is on the homepage, right? So I don't know why everything's in caps lock. Homepage, they search for this, and it automatically puts in the secondary filter, which is published. And then they decide to go onto the podcast thing, so it changes the type to be podcast. And they want to search they filter for season, and season number, and sorry, I could just do and season is equal to, let's say, 2. So that would be, so maybe I should change this to be instead of secondary, this is more of an order. So we could do order by published ASC. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be these aren't correct URLs, because this should be that's the string, that's the order by. This is that's fine, but it's when we get down to the filters where we have multiple filters, sort of here, where we've got type, podcast, filter. That would be something like this: filter season is equal to 2. Yeah, there we go. So, because, I mean, this could be episode. Or it could be guest. Yeah. And this would be published ASC. which if all of this had publication. So if publication was the only date we were searching on, which kind of makes sense in my head, then we would just do order by ASC, right? There's no need to put in published because there isn't any other thing that we're going to be ordering them by, I don't think. I mean, you've got the names and stuff. I don't know. I mean, we could do this, couldn't we? We could do order by date ASC, because then you could have order by name. All of these interesting nuances. And I guess to complete it, you would have published date. Yeah, just in case we have something else in the future, another date to search by. This kind of makes a little bit more sense in my head. As for these query strings. Yep. Okay, so again, this could be duration if it was a course. Yeah. Oh, my legs are getting knackered. We went for a long walk yesterday. And I'm trying to do a push-up challenge at the moment, so I'm aching. It's only the third day. I think that's okay. I think that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, from all of these scattered notes, I guess what I should do now is actually start thinking about how to actually scope these as work units. I guess today is really planning and just trying to and using this time as to think as to how this feature set could be used. Now, that one side of this, what we've dealt with here is the requests, right? So we've dealt with how the requests are going to be made. Let's turn our attention now to how the responses are going to be made, because I said earlier that I want this cached. I want these search results to be cached, and then so if a query string, because essentially the request here is going to be should be unique, and if it's not unique, then it means that someone has already searched upon this before, this string, and therefore there should be a cached set of results. If not, then we would hit the Elasticsearch, pull back the results, and then cache those for the next time. And then whenever I go and publish another podcast or a course or a blog post, what we do is we clear the cache. I guess we could clear all the cache. Which keeps this refreshed and up to date. So in terms of caching, I guess this could make up our unique key, and that's something I want to double check quickly, because excuse me, with Reddit excuse me, beg your pardon. With Redis, that's what I would like to use with Redis. I've used it before when it's already in play, when my client has Redis already set up. I've never, I've set it up a couple of times, but never in anger. So I just want to check my knowledge on Redis, because I'm more familiar with Memcache on a personal level. So I just want to make sure. Here we've got counter 0, counter 15, counter 5. What's this? Is this the key? Because that's what I want to look for. Increments and decrements. Getters and setters. In Redis, and the most important commands are set, get, and exists. These these commands are used to store, check, and retrieve data from a Redis server, just like commands. The pRedis class, I don't know what that is, can be used to perform Redis operations with the same name of command. For example, get message. I think this is the key. If that is the key, sets message to contain hello world. Yeah. If that's the key, I don't know why that's in funky formatting there. If that is the key, then what I'm thinking is this becomes the key, right? This becomes the key, the query string. And what we could do is we could probably serialize this, or not serialize this, hash it, and that hash becomes the key, and then whatever is returned from the API, from the fetches, that becomes the value in some form of array. Now, something I haven't mentioned here, is pagination. So before we even dive into this, let's get back to here a minute and talk about pagination, because there's no pagination at this point. You search for something, then you go to one of the search bits, and then you've got pagination. By default, it's always going to be on page 1. So again, this would be and page equals 1. Or you could, let's put that up there as well. Or you could have page equals 2. Yeah, so that would become our key. And when someone searches for a word from the homepage, where they put in, say, PHP or CSS or what have you, and hit search, what we'll do is we will include the default filters, which is the order by, which is date ascending, as well as the first page, page 1, which means that becomes our hashed. We'll hash that. That becomes our key. Okay, so let's go back to here. Okay, this is increasing, decreasing values, not what I'm after here. There's a few basic Redis commands for working with lists. Okay, languages, rpush, lpush. So you're putting things in. So I'm guessing languages is an array with starting with French, and then you're pushing it to the right here of Arabic. So you have French and Arabic. Okay, and then likewise you would do an L push, which I guess is left push, and we're putting in English, and then here we're putting in Swedish. So English and Swedish. And I guess these are popping them out. Interesting, working with hashes. So a hash in Redis is a map between one string field and a string values. Interesting, like a one-to-many relationship. Again, I'm not sure what's going on with the funky formatting here, whether that's a thing that I need to look out for, or whether that's just an accident. Can I just want to double check how to Redis store, because essentially these are all going to be arrays that come back. So store array. This is a Laravel example. So Redis isn't familiar with PHP non-scalar data types like arrays, but a quick and dirty option is to serialize the array. Okay. Yeah, you could use JSON encode, I suppose. Redis is a language agnostic, so it won't recognize data types. Fine, fair enough. The easiest way would be to serialize or JSON encode the data. I gotcha. So here we would have, this is probably how I would do it, right? You would have your Redis connection, you would set, that would be the key, and then you would encode it back. So if I was to think about this in terms of PHP, we would have something like, I don't know, let's bring this up a wee bit. We would have something like results, and then we would have an array, and then in the array we would have something like courses, course, and then I probably should use my IDE for this to be unfair. Let's switch over to PHP Storm, and let's pull down all the stuff. Let's go back to develop for a second. And let's do a pull down all the work I've done today. And this is all the work I did late last night and this morning. What do I want to do? I want to I guess what I should do is do a quick fetch, just to bring everything into phase. Let's do a new branch. Would say that this is features, and what's the feature branch going to be called? I guess search. Let's do v1. I'm just playing at this stage. I'm not really, nothing's going to be put in stone today, I don't think. And let's just create a search folder, and then in here we're just going to have just grab one of these, it doesn't matter. Well, I just need the top bit, that's all I need. I just need that. Stop being so lazy, Pete. Because let's just put it in a class. Let's say class is search, and then what I want to do is create a private result. I just want to play with the idea of what the actual response could look like. Results. It's an array, and the array could have courses, and then we would have an array of courses. Let's just tidy that up for a second. We would also have blog. This is blog posts. We would also have another section in here for podcast episodes. Now, we're going to need to have a pagination pager for each one of these, because we need to have, say, total results. Let's say that's 5. Maybe what we need is results here, so that this would be the result, and then we won't need pager. It would just be that. What have I screwed up? Screwed something up, haven't I? That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Expression not allowed as field default value. Fine. Let's just public function test temp, whatever. I just want an area where I can play. Let's just call this get results, make results, get results, make results. There we go, make results. And let's say we get the courses in, and let's say we get the blog posts in, and let's say we get the podcast episodes in. Okay, and let's say that these are all arrays. They come from somewhere, obviously Elasticsearch, but you know. And so we want to return this. So we return, can I just make my life a little bit easier? Thank you. We return an array where we have courses and then we have results. So here I guess we're going to need, that's the reason why it was failing. There we go. And then we've got total results here, which I guess we can do sort of count of courses. And I guess here we would have results count of blog posts. And then like this as well, we would have a count of podcast episodes. And then I guess we would need to have pagination for each one of these things, wouldn't we? Or would pagination be done? Pagination would need to know which type you're on. Yeah. So we would have pager. This would be the active one, I suppose, at the start. So you would have current page. This would be like 1. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's copy that across. Obviously put these back. What else would we have in the pager? We would have current page. We would also have next page. That would be 2. Let's say that there isn't enough in here, so the next page here would be null, because there isn't a next page for blog posts. And let's say the next page here would be 2 as well. And then here we would have the result. These would be the courses. So we would have, say, ID. And in fact, this would be an array of arrays, right? So you would have, ID, or even better, you would have URL. That would be something like course 1 or something, I don't know. You would also have a title. I mean, I'm making this up, right? I'm making this up. Oops. And then down here you would have another one. So that's course 2. And so on. And then let's just copy all that for the podcast episodes, because there's nothing in here. It's just blank for blog posts. You would have post title, and then this. So this would be like blog, and then 1. 2 and 3. You would also need to have not only the passing the pager down, but you would also have to pass the filter down too. So that would be filter. And let's say they've done a filter where they've passed in the... Do we need to that? Maybe we don't. No, we don't need to do that, because the filter would be the key, wouldn't it? That would be the key. And then this, or this would be the key, I guess. One of these two would be the key. And then this would be the value. We would serialize this, or we would do a JSON encode of this. And then we would save this into Redis. So when someone else does another query like this, we can pluck it out of Redis without actually hitting the database again. Or if they haven't done, or if we don't have this, we would have to hit the database, and then we would have to update Redis with this. Hey Marco Dev, thanks for joining today. I hope you're having a good weekend. I'm currently playing around with some ideas with a sort of a search engine for how to code well. I've kind of put the front end on hold for a minute because there's a lot of things that I want to do off stream just to fix a whole load of fail, and I need to rethink a lot of stuff. So I'm taking today as a sort of like an R&D day, I guess. Just sort of planning and thinking about if there was a search, the ability to have a search on how to code well, how it will work. I'm glad the results are what you want. Tell you what, I haven't had enough tea today. Okay, so somehow we make the results, and then those results come back with these 3 things. And then this is the response. So what we would do is, this is the query that we would, these would be the queries that we would fire off. these queries would be hashed into, and then these would be the keys for the Redis, and then we would JSON encode the responses, and the response structure would kind of look a little bit like this. I mean, obviously we're going to have like image or something, I guess. Yeah. Okay. And according to here, this is how you would use a key, and then you would do a JSON encode of that. I mean, obviously this is going to be a huge amount of data, so hopefully it's going to be okay. Okay. Okay, so that's the caching sort of thought about. The searching is going to be through Elasticsearch. Now, I've been playing with Elasticsearch with client work. However, I wouldn't say I would be anywhere close to being an expert, whatever expert means. So one thing I'm going to need to do, obviously, excuse me, is to index all the things. So I need to come up with a structure of I can't say it, indexes, I suppose, of what I'm going to be searching on. I've mentioned a few already, like, title, description. The podcast will be indexed by description and title, but also transcript of the podcast episode. Now, in order to get all of that information into Elasticsearch, I would need to create some PHP, some console commands in Symfony. And I mean, we're thinking, well, way beyond here, but those would have to be triggered to re-index the stuff once like a new blog post or a new thing gets added. And so what I'm thinking there is that we would have a Lambda script that would do that. So you would, once I publish like a blog post or publish a podcast, a Lambda script would be fired that would be triggered to index that information into Elasticsearch. That and then that would also need to trigger a flush of the current search cache. That's kind of what I'm thinking. A series of Lambda scripts that I can trigger depending on if new things go in or what have you. So, okay, thinking about this then, we would need to have three indexes. Blog, course. If we went back over to here, we would have courses, blog posts, and podcast. They would be the three indexes. Now, in the future, I would also like to index things like the code of conduct for Discord, the terms of service that we've got on the How to Code Well beta site, the other bits and pieces as well that aren't strictly married to these three sort of sections. I don't know how I would display that, because what I also would like to do in the future is the coding challenges that we do every month. I would also like those to be included in these search results as well. And going even further than this, eventually I would like to have these live stream archives to be included in this as well. So you can see how broad this could potentially get. I've got some great transcribing software, transcribing it does take a lot of time to go through. But when if I give it a video, it will come back with text of the transcript. There's a lot of things in there that I would have to remove, and spelling errors and all of that stuff. There's a lot of manual work involved in doing a transcript for a blog post, for a podcast. But wouldn't it be awesome if there was the ability to do a transcript for the courses and pump that into Elasticsearch? That would be amazing. Same with the podcast, same with these live streams. That would be incredible. Maybe not the live streams, but the courses would be great. And then with Elasticsearch, you would tinker it to deal with different scores. So you would say that if I was to mention PHP a lot of times in a course that doesn't have a lot to do with PHP, then that would be scored lower than if a course has got something to do with PHP. So this is what the scores are. And then this is how, if you want to retrieve a source field. No, that's not right. Search for a document. Here we go. So you would do body query match test field ABC. So the parameter, you would pass in this array, and believe you me, this gets very, very big. Very, very big. And the array that you get back is going to be very, very big as well. That's the score. Sorry, this is the score it gets back. So you order it by the score. Yes, of course, I'm going to have to deal with deleting documents as well as just indexing them and adding them. There's a lot of work here. Oh, this is cool. The connection class requires body to be a stream handled, so this is how you would mock. Set the host, some host, do a request, and you'll get back the body, which is this response above. So are we saying that we create the body here, which is so an interesting part of this is how on earth am I going to test this? Because you've got your acceptance tests, you've got your integration tests, but then you've got your unit tests. With the unit test, you're going to need to mock all of this stuff out, because that's going to be, you're going to have to fake the fact that you're sending things up to the index. Yeah, it's very powerful, this. Very, very powerful. And then there's this whole set of decisions that I have to make about how am I going to deal with the infrastructure, setting the infrastructure up. So, the way I think at the moment is Redis is going to be in a container, and Elasticsearch is going to be in its own container, and then you would have to deal with backups of those things, obviously, and then you would have to deal with monitoring of those as well. So there's a lot of other things that is involved in setting all of this stuff up, which isn't necessarily, the day-to-day sort of the attractive, sexy stuff, right? And of course we're using AWS, so that means that, I could use Elasticsearch, I could use, Elasticache for Redis, and I could use their AWS Elastic, whatever they call it, for Elasticsearch. Cloud Search. I could use Cloud Search, which isn't Elasticsearch. So there's that decision to make. Do I do Cloud Search or do I do Elasticsearch? Do I put all of my eggs in the AWS basket, or do I create my own Elasticsearch server? Yeah, there's a lot involved with this sort of decision. We probably won't be playing in the weeds of all of this until sort of some point late next year, I don't think, or I'll be tinkering with it at least sort of doing little bits here and there. The great thing with the system at the moment is that there's feature flags, which means that I can turn features off and still deploy the code. As long as the tests run and work, I can deploy the code. Excuse me. And I can just sort of drip feed it up. And then once the feature is finalized, I can then flip the switch, turn it on, and all good. I guess at this stage, what I should do is, I should start creating epics for this. So how am I going to split this up? Because this is quite a big chunk of work. If I go back to here, like, we don't have any of this. From a UI's perspective, we have the search form. There's going to be a form here, and then the filters will change depending on which type of search you've selected, as well as which primary search you've chosen. And with podcasts, there's even more. Okay, I guess what I should do is we could look at it from a back end, as well as we could look at it from 3 different points of view. One is the back end, PHP. The other one is DevOps, so that's infrastructure, actually getting the containers spun up. And then the other one is the front end, to actually offer the ability to search and then return the search results. I think I'll probably do this from the perspective of the back end first, and then in parallel do the infrastructure, and then do the front end. I think that's probably how it's going to go. So the first thing I'll probably do is build the API. So the API will be if we go back to my notes, where are my notes? Here. We would have API search. That's how that would be. And it would be a GET request. So let's put API in front of all of this stuff. Yeah. Okay, so then... But it's not, is it? We would send an API request off, but we would have another set of URLs for the front end, because as I mentioned, what I would like is when we have this search box up here and we hit search, I want the actual URL to change so it can be indexed. But behind the scenes, it's going to be firing off an API request with all of this stuff. So in fact, we would have backend is equal to this, and then front end would equal to essentially the same thing, but without that. I could also put in on the back end, maybe the cookie that was given by the user. So I could even tailor the response to the user if the user's logged in. That's interesting. Could do that, couldn't I? Yeah. Okay, let's put that all in here so I am fully aware of what's... So when I come back to the notes, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I did that. So there's no need for that. And then same with these. Oops. Okay. That seems sensible. Let's scope this out then. Well, not scope it out, that's kind of too much of a defined word. Let's put these down in Jira. So not really scoping them, but just putting down notes. Let's go back to the browser. Here we go. Go into there. Right. So let's deal with the search API. So there's going to be a number of epics. One epic is going to be search API, the other one is going to be search front end, and the other one is going to be search infrastructure, I suppose, the way that gets carved up. So create a API that handles the search handles searching Elasticsearch for a given query and set of filters. So it's going to be very loosey-goosey at the moment. Very loosey-goosey. Is there any way I can tell you haven't done this in a while? Is there a way I can API. Come on, I must have API. There we go. Linked issues issue. Essentially what I want to do, if I create this, I want to create a number of sub-issues against this epic. Add a child link in issue. I never remember what this is, whether I create another issue and then link it to this, or do I create a child issue? I don't know. Anyway, 454. That's the thing here. Let's do let's just create a task and link it to the epic. Okay, so first up, create API request is to create basic API request. Okay, so this will return courses blog posts, can't spell posts, and podcast. Return a blank set of courses, blog posts. Also include pagination. Now, the reason why I've got this as blank is because it's chicken and egg. Because what we need to do is we need to create an API that does this, right? But because there hasn't been anything indexed yet, because we don't have the infrastructure yet, we're going to have to return an API that has nothing, which essentially, returns this in its empty sort of structure. So yeah, return a blank set of courses, return the response should be the structure. Right. So then I'll just put in a note at this stage. Isn't set up, so just return the structure. Okay. And then it was 454, I believe it was. So if we do 454, and can we, instead of relates to, can we do blocks? Relates to? Oh, relates to. Okay. Labels, again, API, assigned to me, and we will create. Okay, so that creates a API, create a structure. For API request. Okay, let's create another one. This one will be to marry up the results. So at this point, we would create some sort of function, I guess, called search. I guess this would be some search controller, and this would be the search action, and we would pass in a request, and from here we would return the response. Again, this is all very pseudo at the moment. So what we would need to do is we would need to handle the request. So handle the request. Handle the query from the request. So the request would be, and what I'll do is I'll copy one of these things. So like that, for instance. That would be the request, and what we want to handle is the query. So let's change that to be something that is more relevant to PHP. So let's do, now at this point, we're going to need to index. Yeah, maybe I'm going too far. At this point, we do need to create the index. So maybe instead of this, we need to have, create create course index, and this would need to be, if I change tact, this is going to need to be a console command. So create course index command. Well, before we even do this, we need to create the course index. Before we even do this, we need to create Elasticsearch. Okay. Okay. So create Elasticsearch container. So this isn't the API. This is, have I got a label in here for infrastructure? I've got investigation. You're going to need to investigate that. DevOps, do I have anything for DevOps? I do. Yeah. This is going to be a Docker container. So create an Elasticsearch Docker container. Look into memory, because from what I can remember setting this up locally, it's a resource hog. So look into memory requirements. This is I mean, this is more of an epic, to be fair. Can we change this to be an epic? Because this is huge. Yeah. So, okay. So it doesn't relate to that other one. So, look into memory requirements, look into backups, look into security. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I don't really know. I mean, that's huge. I don't really know the tasks involved in all of this until I actually start doing it. So, I mean, we're going to need to pull down the Docker image into a container. We're going to need to adjust Docker Compose. We will then also need to adjust the deployment. Yeah, so there's quite a meaty chunk in here. So if we did change this to task and then relate, I don't know what that, darn it. Elasticsearch container, create Elasticsearch. Okay, so adjust Docker Compose. Make adjustments for all environments. No, let's just work on dev, for dev environment. For dev and env. Adjust dev, Docker Compose to handle Elasticsearch. So this will probably require, whoops. Where did everything go? This will probably require a volume, I think. Maybe. Yeah, and env vars. Do we need one? And what do we need to configure? Okay. Anything else? I'm sure there's going to be tons. My tea is probably cold now, isn't it? Yuck. Yeah, there's probably going to be loads. Yeah. Probably going to be loads. But based on what we've discussed today, with the front end, well, with the back end, let's keep with the back end. So with PHP, we've already created a basic thing. We need to get the results in. So what we need to do, let's create another epic. This is to handle Elasticsearch imports. Okay, so this one is to look into indexing courses. Look into indexing blog posts. podcasts. And it's probably going to be put in a new label of backend BE, or just type in backend. It's not an API. That's the thing. It's a command. Yeah. Handle Elasticsearch imports. Okay, so we'll create that. Okay, so for this this is 458. So it relates to 458. 458. We would create Elastic search index, course index command. Okay, so at this point we can look at what are the things from a course that we want to index. So obviously we have so index the following. So obviously we have the title, so course title. We have course description. We have course. We have publication date. And I'm going to put course in there. The reason why I'm doing this is because there's tutorials as well. Well, then maybe we should index the tutorials, and then we index the courses and we index the tutorials separately, and then we merge them together. I can see this being really complicated. Hey, WoW fan 007, thank you for following. Appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome to my planning of the next or a future phase of How to Code Well. Yeah, lots of head scratching today. Lots and lots of head scratching. Essentially, in the future, I would like here to have a search text box where a user can enter in a search term and then press search. And the idea is that, so, a bit like this. And then it would be cut up splits between courses, blog posts, and podcasts. And then depending on what is selected at this point, changes the filters that are available. So, for instance, with courses, you would have whether you're searching for a free course or a premium course, and then the secondary filter would be publication date. And then with the podcast search, so if they clicked on podcast, we would have things like search by season or episode, and then you would either type or select a number that represents the season or episode, and then another filter would be, the secondary filter would be filtering on the publication date. So there's season, there's episode, and there's guest. That's the primary. Blog post is far simpler. It's just searching on date published. Yeah. And what I'm trying to do now is get that into some reasonable set of Jira tickets. And I'm struggling, as you can probably tell, to try and get my thoughts down into some form of plan. Now, we need to obviously index these things. So this stage is to create the Elasticsearch index. It is to create a Symfony command that will index courses. So at this stage, I'm thinking about what are the core pieces of data of a course to index. So title, description, publication date. There's also duration. So total course duration. I don't know why I'm capitalizing everything. Course duration. And then there's the tutorials. And I'm not sure. Excuse me. I'm not sure yet if I should be indexing the tutorial separately from the course. I probably should be. And then discovering what the courses are that represent the tutorial. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. So we will. That's sensible. Let's copy that for a second. Let's create another one. And in this will be create Elasticsearch tutorial index command. And this will be to index the following. So off of the back of that, we would be indexing the tutorial number. So where it is in the order, tutorial order number. We would be also indexing the tutorial title. We would be indexing the tutorial. Oops. Can't type. Fat fingers. Description. And eventually I want to do the tutorial transcript. But this is let's just put in transcript not available yet. Yeah. Kibana to build the data model. Okay. I haven't really got much experience in Kibana, to be honest. I've used it before to query I think it was Kibana. I used one of the tools anyway to test a query. There was something that wasn't happening with PHP. We were running a script. We were running a search via PHP, and the query seemed fine, seemed sensible, and I wasn't sure whether that was the PHP problem. So what I did is I decided to go into, I think it was Kibana, it might have been, and I was able to write a search in the native Elasticsearch way. It's a bit like writing a native SQL query in the MySQL console. To show me that it would actually return the results, and we discovered that it was a PHP that was wrong. It was ordered the query wrong. The request was written wrong. Whatever. So I think that was Kibana. But I really don't have much experience with the tooling. I've certainly used Elasticsearch with clients, but I haven't had a lot of hands-on experience with the tools, unfortunately. So this is going to be quite an interesting challenge. So yeah, I will take a look at Kibana when we get to it. I think that's thank you. After this, because this is an interesting one, because the tutorials relate to the course. So, and it's what I was saying earlier. Like, for instance, when we get to here, let's say, for instance, someone searches for container names, right? How to change container names. So they just come up with there's a search thing here on the homepage, and they search how to change container names. So ideally, I would want the Docker for Beginners course to come straight to the top. And that's because there is a tutorial that says container names in the title. I mean, there'll be that in the transcript when we get to that point, as well as the description, obviously. But I want to offer Docker for Beginners. But the description of Docker for Beginners, as well as the title Docker for Beginners, doesn't have container names in it. So I need to create that kind of relationship. And I use the word relationship loosely because it's non-relatable data in terms of Elasticsearch. In terms of a relational database, because it's not a database, it's a graph engine. I think I need to do a lot of learning. There's going to be a lot of self-taught stuff during this, I think. Which is fine. Which is what I'm excited for, actually. I'm looking forward to it. Right, so where are we? Here. So create an index for tutorials, create an index for courses. The next one is to create an index for blog posts. So create blog post index command. So the index should index the following. So we have blog post title. We have blog post I guess content, right? And we have the blog post publication date. Now, I'm writing these tasks now, and we probably won't get to this. I probably won't get to this for many, many months away. So when we get to this, and I'll have a look at this, I'll probably have a better understanding of this. So I'll review the cards and sort of assess my thought process with the new knowledge that I've gained. But what have we got here? Now, if we have I got? Yes, get rid of it all. Have I got in the backlog? I should have a few epics. So Elasticsearch course index, tutorial index, blog post. We need podcast. That's what we need to do. Create Elasticsearch podcast index command. And it will. It's so annoying when this loads in this small little window here. Can I? If configuring it is going to configure the whole thing, isn't it? Yes, it is. That's not what I want. No, go away. Go away. I don't want to do that. I want to get to the bottom. Ugh, Jira. Come on. Actions, add parent, copy, issue, link. Just bring it out in that window, please. That would be awesome if you could do that. But just because now I don't have. What do I have to configure this? Oh, Jira, come on. Why? Why do I need to do this? Why can't you just give me the options that you gave by default? Seriously, Jira? And now my thought process is just this now, not the work that I need to do. Oh dear. Right, so create a field, paragraph. No, it's none of these things. None of these things. Context fields. Labels. Assignee. God, Jira, you are doing my nut. What I want, right? When I put in a task in here, an issue in here, and then I click on this and I see all of this stuff, I want to have the same options as I get when I click on create. Such as relate to. There's nothing in here. I want to relate this to the one that I've just done, and I can't see that. Is it that? Add a child issue? No, it's not a child issue. Add apps. It's not an app. It's not an app. Oh, God. See, now what I would do is just go, okay, well, let's just get rid of this. And then let's just click on create, because that gives me the options that I need. I know that this is probably my lack of knowledge with Jira, but it does annoy the hell out of me. It really does. So here I could do relates to, and then we do Elasticsearch, and it's the search imports. That's all I wanted. That was what I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to do, as well as have investigation and have backend. And then here I can't even remember what the task was. Was it something to do with Elasticsearch and the podcast? Elasticsearch. So this was create. Here we go. Create index. Create Elasticsearch index. There we go. My rely on the browser. Create Elasticsearch podcast episode index. Index the following. Jeez. I swear Jira is not made by developers. It's made by project managers. Okay, index the following. No, if it was made by project managers, it would be correct, wouldn't it? Because it would be what the project managers need. Anyway, whatever. My annoyance with Jira knows no bounds. Index the following. Title. We would have description, right? We would also have transcript. But we have to put in transcript is not available yet. But what I would like to have is to, create the ability to have a transcript at some point. Okay, then we would have duration isn't. I think that's it. Oh, publication date. I think that's good. Now these commands, they're Symfony commands that I've lost it. Elasticsearch. Where are we? There we go. There's two epics. One is the container creating the actual thing. The other one is to handle the search imports. There should also be another one for the API. So let's search for API here. there'll be quite a lot, I would imagine. Create API endpoint for viewed courses. Create API structure for API requests. This should be this should relate to an epic for Elasticsearch API. Yeah, let's do that. So this is so I want an epic for each major section of this. So this is search API. Or maybe have I already done that? I don't know. Yeah, I have search API. But let's change search API. Ugh. Okay, where's that gone? Oh, it's because I had that filter on. See, this is annoying. Search API. Can I? No, I can't find that. Oh, for God's sake. Fine. Let's just search the search API. Oh dear. So where is it? Where is the search API epic in the backlog? Seriously. This is what irritates me with Jira. It's like you write all these things down, but then you just can't find them. No. And yet I can find issues without epics. Oh, hang on a minute. Maybe I'm epic panel. What's that do? Oh, these are the epics. Oh, for crying out loud. Can I change that epic? I want to change that epic. I want to edit that epic. And how do I do that? I can click on it. I can view all details. Here we go, search API. I want to change that to be Elasticsearch. Jira, if you're listening, please put me on your review team. Because so now if I search for Elasticsearch, there we go. I've got the API, I've got the container, and I've got the imports. Okay, WowFan007 is saying in ES, you define your data defined by MySQL databases, tables, columns, rows, Elasticsearch indices, and types, documents with properties. You can just look at the issues recently created. Yeah, okay. Okay, so Elasticsearch API, the Elasticsearch container, and the Elasticsearch imports. These are going to be the commands that I need to write, the Symfony commands. This is going to be the infrastructure, and then this is going to be the actual APIs. So we need to have another one for the front end. So we need to create, so this would be Elasticsearch. Front end form, I guess. So this will create the forms for the search. Create the search forms. There we go. Create the search forms. And responses and results. There's no point in having a fourth epic. I'll only get confused with the Jira again. Elasticsearch front end will do. So this handles the search forms and results. So what do I need to do with this? I need to look into SSR, server-side rendering. It's another toy to play with. Look into caching, which is Redis. Now, this is kind of a crossover task. Actually, in fact, I'm not going to put it in that. I'm not going to do that. I'll do that separately. Map out user requests and dynamic filters. Create React components. Yeah. So this will have a bunch of investigation. It is the front end. Yeah, and it's UI, obviously. So what I could do, that was 464. Thank you. So create search page. Okay, so this will be the, well, actually, first of all, before we do that, let's create homepage search form. Or let's just create, homepage search form. So create text box for query. Right. Create text box for query. Let's just say create form, and then create, and then adjust URL. So create form will include query text box. It will also include a submit button, because this will cover this bit here. Adjust the URL when the submit button is when the form is submitted. Before the form is submitted. When the form is submitted. When. I haven't quite worked that bit out yet. And the URL that we're going to adjust, so like examples of URL. I mean, really, this is moving into another task, but let's just lay this down. So that would be what the front end sends over, right? Okay, so query equals the text search is equal to the query text. Then order by equals default sort order, and page equals default page number. Okay. The idea is that when someone puts in the query in here and then hits search, I want the URL to change to be that. So really, this is the only thing that changes via the user input. The URL changes, which means that it can be indexed, and then and people can land, on this again. I think what I'll do is I will split this up into 2 tasks. So let's just grab that. And I think, is it 646? I think so. Let's just bung it in. And the next one, is it 464? 464. Front end, yeah. Adjust URL when form is submitted. So, yeah, obviously we need to handle data sanitization and everything, cleaning of the data, of course. You can't allow people to put in script tags into this point. Although what I was suggesting was maybe actually allowing people to write code into the search. I don't know. Error responses, probably. Yeah, maybe not code. That's probably opening it a bit too wide. Okay. It's just like, for instance, one of the blog posts that we've got, right, that I created the other week, if I can find it. Where is it gone? Where are we? We're on beta. No, I want to go onto the live site. There we go. If we go to the blog posts, which is this one, if we go to how to set up Codeception, Selenium, and Docker Machine, it would be awesome if I could put in the actual code into Elasticsearch, so people could search for, I don't know, like a port number or this, or what have you, this. Meh. Which kind of makes me think that when we get to indexing these things, I will have to, and I put in the whole blog post into Elasticsearch, I would have to clean up the formatting. Yeah, so I would have to strip out p tags and all of that jazz. Otherwise, people could be searching for p tags. Right. Interesting challenge. Interesting challenges ahead, I think. Tyrannid has just subscribed for 1 year on Prime. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. That is very kind. Thank you. Wow, everybody give Tyrannid a round of applause. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. That's really, really nice. Thank you. 12 months. I think Tyrannid is the longest subscriber to How to Code Well on Twitch. That is incredible. Thank you. That is awesome. I'm chuffed. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah. Yep. So next year is going to be fun, isn't it? Yes, next year is going to be real fun. If I can get the stuff for the user logins, which is driving me nuts at the moment with JavaScript. That's why I'm not doing it today, because I'm like, nope, not happening. If we can get that done, if I can get that done and out the door. Unfortunately, we're not going to get the premium courses up by Christmas as I had hoped. So that will probably come sort of, I don't know, March I guess, I don't know. There's a lot to do in terms of Stripe and everything there. Once that's done, we can then start doing this fun Elasticsearch stuff where we can actually create a search engine for How to Code Well, and so the project name portal will really come into effect, because we'll actually come. The mission will be well defined. We'll have a search thing here, a search form that will search across all the various types of How to Code Well content, and bring it together. Because the blog, the podcast, is very disjointed, and I had a comment the other day of, are these articles or are these courses? So it still needs to be a little bit more obvious that this is actually a website that will have programming courses on there. I've said before that once I get this into a good shape, I would like to give it to a web designer to design. Maybe that'll come next year, I don't know. Yeah. So we've got the homepage search thing. When I click on search, we go over to the various types of searches, and then the filters would be defined by what's been searched upon. So we have this bit here, which is just a text box, and they hit search. And the idea is that the Elasticsearch will do its thing, come back with some results. And then if there's no results in course, it will automatically drop down to whatever's next. So whether it's in the blog post or the podcast. But depending on where you are in here, depends on the filters that you get. So we've defined the filters today, which has been really good. Actually coming to define those. So for instance, the course filters here, we have a primary filter that will allow you to choose between all, premium or free, and then the secondary filter, so date published, the name. So these are more sorting, so sorting by duration and names. Then we have the blog filters, which is fairly light, and then the podcast is a little bit more involved, because the primary filters are season, episode, and guest. So depending on what you select here, we'll change the... Where is it? We'll change this. So, this. So, for instance, if I was to choose season, then I would get a drop down of numbers of seasons. If I was to choose episode, then I would have a text box where I could put in a number. If I was to choose guest, then I would have a select box of all the guests. So it's a little bit more dynamic. And then obviously you would have your secondary, so you would have your date published and other things. And then the idea is that if they go, well, I don't want to do podcasts anymore, I want to see if there's anything to do with CSS and courses, then we would go back to this style, where we would just say CSS, and we would set this to the default, which would be all, so both premium and free, and that would be the default ordering, which would be ascending, I believe. Yeah, scoping this out today has been really interesting, because I was thinking this morning, let's just dive into the code and start throwing things together and making stuff work, or in my case, breaking stuff. So, but I've actually taken this stream to be more planning and thinking and coming up with sort of a way forward rather than just diving in. Sometimes it's good to dive in, but I think it's good to map this out. Search is so complicated. Excuse me. That's great to hear, Turner. Getting back to the routine, to a decent routine. That's good. Routine is good. Right. So where are we with the whole creating of the issues? This is adjusting the URL when the form is submitted. So I want to string together a URL based on the options that I've chosen. So this would be the, let's put in some more examples. This is the default for searching a course. So the user won't, oops, I can't spell default, for searching a course from the homepage. So what happens here is that when we go to the homepage, they've searched for PHP OOP in here, and then they press search. Whoops. And what we've done is we've defaulted it to have an order of published date of ascending, and the page is 1. So they won't actually put this in. This will be automatically, when they hit search, that will be appended onto the URL. And then they, when they get to the results page, they can then change that. Means that this can get. It means that the results can be indexed by Google. If we can create an actual endpoint for these things. So that is the default for searching a course from the homepage. Let's do a default for. Let's do not a default. So user changes order by from the search results page. So let's say that they've, whoops, come here, page. Let's say they've changed this to be descending, right? And let's put in another example where a user changes the type of course. So this would be descending as well as sort of and type is equal to all. Now I've got to be careful with this because type is a filter that is specifically for course. Let's do course type. That makes more sense. It's more, yeah. So you'll always have an order by, and you'll always have a page, pagination. But this is specific only to courses. Yeah. Yes, that's why it's not. That's why it's not in the default. That's why it's not in the default, because this can be for podcasts, blog posts, and courses. So for both podcasts and courses, there's an order by which has a publication date and a page number, and that's why it's done by default. But with courses, you also have a course type, and also let's do another one for the podcast, which is this one. Yeah, this one. So user changes filter. User filters on filters season on podcast results. Yeah. Okay. Query equals the text. the order by is the default sort order. It doesn't have to be default. Is that page is the page number. I'm wondering if we need to have. No, I think that's fine. Filter is equal to primary and secondary filters, right? So we would have that's the primary filter, and then I guess that's the filter value. So that could be, say, guest, and this could be a name of a guest, right? But this could also be episode, and this could be a number. A bit like season. Whoops. So it doesn't matter that this is going to be. Yeah, it doesn't matter that this is on the podcast. It doesn't matter that this could be a select box or a drop down or which is a select box or a text area. The value would just come up. So that would be primary and secondary. So, or no, I'm not. No. That doesn't make any sense, does it? No. Nope. Let's go back to this. That's not right. Not in the slightest. This is the primary. This is the primary. Okay. This is the secondary. But the secondary is the sort. So let's change the wording of this. Let's change the wording. So this is filter. This is sort. That's better. Filters and sort. Or just filter and sort. That's better. Which means that these are order by, which is our sort. So maybe we should do sort. Sort. And then this would be down here, sort, and then we could just change this to be filter, which is what it is. Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense, I think. Sort is this. No, it's not. Order. There we go. Order. Sort. Which is better, I think, because order is in some things is a reserved word, isn't it? So I don't think I need this because this is just blatantly obvious. Okay, and having the square brackets like this allows me to have other filters and other sorts in the future, but I don't think I'm going to need them. But it's useful. Okay, adjust the URL of viewers. Okay, have I related this to that? Okay, cool. Groovy. Let's just cancel this a minute, and then let's go back down to Jira. Right, I want to see what is involved with this, and I can't because Jira is rubbish. View all details. What's the point in this middle section? Okay, that's what I wanted to see, and I can only see that small word. Create structure for API requests. Jira, you are rubbish. Adjust dev docker compose to handle. Okay, so that's the infrastructure. And then this one here is create search course index, and this one is What's that? Come on. Podcast episode index. Where is everything else? Where's the blog? I'm sure I did one for the blog. Create homepage search form and adjust the URL when the form is submitted. Okay. I thought I did one for a blog though. Let's get rid of all of these. There we go. Did that not relate to the other thing? I don't think I've done that. And how do I do this? Wow. Okay. I think I need to... I don't know. Jira is just... Why? Why is it so complicated? Why can't I just... I don't understand. Add a child issue. It's not a child issue. Add an attachment. It's not an... There we go. Link issues. There we go. Link an issue. Right. Okay. It relates to Elasticsearch. Come on. Podcast. No. It's an epic. It is an indexer. Which is... It's not that one. It's not that one. It's that one. There we go. Link. Why was that so difficult? What's the point in this? Can I get rid of that? Yes, I can. There we go. Good. Show me only the things I need. Please. And whilst you're at it, read my mind. Right. I miss Trello. So, let's just recap. Where are we? Why has that disappeared? I want all Elasticsearch epics and it... Right. Okay. Nothing is in my backlog, and I don't know why. Do I need to create a sprint and put all the tasks in? It's certainly not ready for a sprint. Jira is going to turn me into... Let's just go... Right, okay. Let's just look at the last things. Okay, here we go. So create an Elasticsearch tutorial index. That's good. Course index, yes. Blog post index, good. So they're the indexes. They're the things that we're going to create the Symfony commands for. Before I do that, though, I need to actually create the Elasticsearch container. And then I need to index all of those. We need to create a search form on the home page. We also need to create a list of results as well. Yeah. Okay, so let's do that. So create... Well, it's a search page. Create a search page. So this will read the... Can't spell. We will read the search query and filters from the URL and run a search request. Okay. So this requires a search form that is tailored to the this is search form that is tailored to the type of content searched, so or defaults to course. There we go. Right, so I've made that decision. So basically, if you land at /search, right, with nothing in it, because that's a use case, then we should default it to courses, and potentially we could even show all of them, right? All the courses. I don't know. How do other search engines? I mean, like you go to google.com, right? It doesn't just give you random searches straight away. No. I mean that's an interesting use case. When you go to a search page for an application like this, for a website like this, where you haven't actually instantiated a search, started a search, what should be offered? I mean, we could offer all the courses in ascending order. Same with blog posts, same with podcasts. We could do that. That would make sense, wouldn't it? So yeah, all right. Search form that is tailored to the type of content or defaults to course. This might be a big task here, so yeah, let me just put down some thoughts. If the query is blank, return all the courses, blog posts, and podcast episodes in cannot spell in ascending order. In ascending, instead of ascending order, ordered by publication date. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. To return everything. I mean, it's going to be a massive query. But really, it's only going to be everything on page 1. So we would certainly need to know the total pages for pagination's sake. But it's only going to be... in terms of displaying, it's only going to be the first 12 of each one of these. So even though this could be, courses, whatever, 36, blog posts 102, podcast 1,000,005, on each one of these, you're only going to be displaying the first 12. So, yeah. So in terms of API response, when we look at this thing, this will only ever be 12 pieces of content deep for both the courses, for the blog posts, and the podcast episodes. The results are only going to have 12 items in it. This is going to be the magic, the pager. So the total results needs to change. This needs to say something like because it's not a count of the current set, because that's only ever going to be up to 12. So we could I don't know. I don't know how we would get that back, because that would be 12. That would be 12. You know, a maximum of. Because we would only be showing 12 at a time. So it's almost like we need to supply. I mean, thinking about this, I think we could probably refactor this so it make results specifically for courses. So we would have something like public function make course results. And so we would have an array of results here. I can't spell results. And we would have, I guess we would have total results. And this would deal with the course portion of it. And then you would have another one for make blog results. And then you would have another one for podcast. I mean, this is all up in the air, podcast episodes, but I'm trying to translate my thoughts of Jira down into some sort of pseudocode. So we would then have that. Is that right? Yeah, we would have that. So we would return that in an array. And that would become would become results, and then whoops, and then the total results would be that, and we might supply other things for page numbers and stuff. So like current page is equal to 1, and then next page is equal to null. So we would return that, and now I'm thinking hang on, that was results and pager, right? So it's courses is equal to this. This. Make. Was that come on. Make course results. And we would pass in the courses, that would be the results. We would pass in the current page, which would be, say, 1, and the next page would, I don't know, 2, or something like that. I don't know. I'm playing at the moment, just to try and get this crystallized in my mind. The idea then is that we would have courses. Why is this failing? Void. Oh, okay. Let's, yeah. I mean, in fact, thinking about it, these are going to be exactly the same. So let's do a little bit of refactoring here. So make, we've called this make results. This is going to be make, I guess, response, right? And then this would be make results. So this make results, it will be the same for this one, which is the same as this one. So we would pass in blog posts in here, and we would pass in podcasts in there, and we would do but this doesn't get round total. I don't know. I'm sure there's a design pattern I can deal with to handle this. I'm thinking that they perhaps having a separate class for each one of these, and then sort of have a abstract base class that handles all of this stuff. Potentially, there's no need for this. So I'm just throwing things on the page at the moment, just sort of having an idea. So I think we would have like a class for, I don't know, like a class for course search, right? Course search results, and then you would have results. Come on, Pete. Press the button in the right order. And we would have something like private results. We would have something like private max results or total results. Is equal to 0, and then that would be like an ints, and this would be an array, and we would have some form of public function construct, and we would have, I don't know what you would put in there, to be honest. If this was a decorator, we would be decorating something. So we would be. Does it need to be a decorator? I don't know. But we could certainly have something that is the same for like podcast episode. I mean, like I say, I'm just spitballing here. What's the next one? Blog. And I've called this search result. So, yeah. And they could all extend like some abstract search result. That has, I don't know, these things in. There we go. And then we would have like some form of like public function render, which would render the actual results. So we would have on each one of these, we would have like private results. Hang on a minute. No, that's not what I need here. Results is equal to because each one of these results will be individual. There we go. Okay, so we would have private results, and then we would render this to look like this for each one of these things. I would probably have an interface for each one of these to have the render mechanism, and then down on this we would just do, say, this eventually it would be this course results render, right? Because at this point in this class, we would say you would have the knowledge of the filters. So you would have public function do stuff. That would come in with a request. And we would say this current page is equal to, I guess this would be our controller, request get, and then we would have page, and then we would default that to 1. And then down here, when we would do the course results, we would do like this. Course results set page is something like that. And then page can be here. And then we would do this course result. In fact, let's change that to be course search. And then, because this is going to actually drive the search, so search. And then this would be search. Passing in. So you would have query set query. Again, obviously none of this is going to work, right? I'm just throwing what my brain on the page. I don't know, let's say PHP or OP, right? You would then do that, and then you would run search, which would then return you the results. Yeah. You would do this again for the so that would be blah, blah, blah. That would be course search, and this would be search, not render, search, because this will return the search. So these will adhere to an interface that has search in them, a public function search in them. So you would do course search, set page, query. These would be in an interface somewhere, and then you would do search to return the results of that. But and you would also do so actually, in fact, you would do this search, and then you would do this course search, get results, and you would also, so that would return the results. You would also do total pages is equal to this course search get total pages. Wrap this up into a render method. Hang on a minute. No. Wrap this into a render method. Wrap this. This is the process. This could be wrapped in a render method to render out wherever I've put the arrays, which I think I've got rid of in my madness. Good. And then, my trail of thought has just left me. Yeah. So you would have this for you would have course search. You would also have blog search. So that this would be blog. This would be course results. Course results. Total course pages. So you would obviously do this in some factory to deal with the polymorphism. So so in that case you would have for each you would have for each searcher, so we could call these the searchers. So as search, there we go. You would set the searcher, so instead of this, it would just be an object. You would set all of these things on, and then you would run the search. There we go. It's getting there, isn't it? For each searcher. Is that not a word, searcher? I thought it was. Search type. Okay. Oh, is it just complaining that it's undefined? Okay, fine. Let's just define it then, shall we? So this searcher is equal to an array where we have new course search, right? And we have new podcast search, podcast episode search, and we have new think blog post search. Okay, so then we loop through all of these. We set the pages, we set the query, and then we start the search. Which, yeah, cool. And then, so that's that done. And then we would get the results back. So we would do so this would be course this is breaking polymorphism, isn't it? Podcast. Oh well. Never mind. And blog post. Let's just put in blog. As key. Search, and then what we would do is we would have results. We would have results, then the key is equal to search get results. I mean, we could even go one step further and say results here. And then down here we would have I'm in my happy place now. You know, this is I'm far away from Jira. So this would be total pages. This would be get total pages. So a whole bunch of pseudocode just thrown, and then return results. Return results. Boom. So not a render, just a search mechanism. I don't know what I was thinking with the abstract search. I'm not sure don't know what I was thinking there. But yeah, something like that. We'll get there in the end, I'm sure. It's just throwing things on paper at the moment. So at this juncture, do stuff. We would that would obviously go in a method somewhere that returns the searches. So we would have something public function get searches. It's a factory, to be honest. It's a factory. So we would have a class search factory and then we would pass in, we would then make these things, and then we would then process those things based on the query. So this would be refactored out for quite far, and then we would run the search for each one of these. I mean, this is part of the renderer, to be fair. But yeah, that's where my head is. Yes, search results will be ordered by scores. Yes, as well as from ES itself. Like 5 words. Yes. Yeah, but you can alter those scores. You can make scores higher and lower. You can manipulate those. So, and that's what I'll use when I'm searching for words in a transcript of a course in a tutorial, and I'm returning back a course. So it's yeah. I have a question about Redis. This is Wolfam. Like, why do you need it if Elasticsearch is in memory? Oh, okay. Well, it's more to do with saving database requests than anything. So it's just keeping the database down, the amount of connections down. Because, and I haven't quite worked this out yet, how I'm going to cache the results, because essentially for each one of these results, I'm going to need to make a request to the database in order to get the content. I'm losing my words. I've been streaming for nearly 4 hours. So it's to save the, you said it, level 2 cache. So it's to save the database from being hammered. Like let's say, for instance, right, someone lands on this search page with absolutely no query whatsoever. I've already made the judgment that I want every course, every blog post, and every podcast to come back in ascending order, right? It's then up to the user to then filter. So I'm going to have to make a query on every single one of those things. And this is going to be one of those things that just gets cached and then flushed every time a new blog post or an article gets added. Or I could append it to the end of the cache, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, it's just to save the bacon of the database, to be honest. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of I'm just throwing code at the moment at this. I don't actually intend on building this out until some point next year. I'm just planning it. So when I do get to it, I'll be able to run with it. Anyway, I'm being told I have my dinner very, very soon. So, which is good because I'm very, very hungry. So I'm going to shoot off and grab some dinner at my roast, and I'm gonna have to soothe my throat. It's a pity it's a school night because I would love a bit of whiskey. Anyway, if you've watched it all the way through and you've been here since whenever I started about 4 hours ago, I really do appreciate it. Thank you for sticking with the scrambled thoughts of in my head. I do think we have made a lot of progress. The notes here are going to be significantly, really help. Searching is a really tricky thing to do. Really, really tricky thing to do. So I don't think that this will be the first and only last plan of the search. And I'm sure we'll come back to this But we've got things like the primary filters and the secondary, or the filters and the sorting defined, which is really important. We've mapped that to the, if my keyboard works, we've mapped this to some very basic but still quite defined interfaces, and we've made some decisions, some really good decisions, as to how the code and the APIs will interact with Elasticsearch. So I'm very happy with the progress today that's been made, and I appreciate your input. And thank you ever so much as well, Tyrannid, for subscribing for 12 months. That's incredible. Thank you. Right, time for my dinner. Happy coding, everybody. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next week. Cheers. Bye-bye.